Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Real. It's Trek Tuesday, where I'll be talking about and reviewing an episode of the original series, The Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, or Enterprise. Today, I'm looking at Who Mourns for Adonais from the original series' second season, or as I like to call it, that time Scotty got his ass kicked. A lot. This episode was requested by Indie Tiger's Sci-Fi Review, so thank you for the suggestion, and let's get going. We begin the episode with Kirk nearly dropping this report, and apparently there's not much going on Pollux 4, but Scotty don't care because his flirt game is on point. Holy shit, what the hell is that?
That thing's a giant hand.
Thanks for clearing that up, Sulu. It's actually Gene Roddenberry's hand. Jesus, seatbelts people, that guy went flying, and they're stuck in place. And into the credits we go. Hang on, Scotty is sat over there and McCoy is just standing around. Don't you people have stations to go to? They try a couple of different things to break free, but they all fail. But hey, this guy's floating head has a lot to say, and Kirk is annoyed that he keeps getting interrupted, so responds in his usual way by threatening violence. The floating head tries to crush the ship because he's a total mood, but Kirk begs for mercy and he stops, instead inviting them all for tea. Except for you, Spock, you have to stay behind. Bye!
We don't accept his invitation, we'll have a crushed eggshell where the ship used to be.
An away team beams down, including that lady Carolyn, but no random red shirts this time. They must have formed a union. And find the floating head with a body attached, who spouts off some nonsense and introduces himself.
I am Apollo.
McCoy's scans show he's just a regular humanoid, but Apollo claims he chilled out on Earth 5,000 years ago, and he's totally interested in Carolyn, much to Scotty's annoyance. Apollo blocks all communication to the ship because he wants them to worship him, and when Kirk says no, he gets super big and green screeny, and I'm trying not to wonder how big his dick is compared to the away team right now. On the ship, ooh, these buttons are pretty. Anyway, Uhura reports the jamming problem and gets her line cut off by this dingle hat, and Spock yada yada some orders and tells everyone to get their shit together. After Apollo disappears, the away team scatters to come up with answers, but he's quickly back again, and I'm sorry, but all I can see is two cartoon eyes back here. McCoy wants to know what's in it for them if they do worship him, Scotty threatens him, and Carolyn tells him he's full of shit, which Apollo gets turned on by, and Scotty gets into a quick one-sided fight over it. Apollo waves at Carolyn, giving her a dress which was apparently glued to her skin, and he bitch slaps Scotty when he tries to interfere, which I've got to see again in slow motion. Nice. Carolyn literally disappears with Apollo, and Kirk yells at Scotty for being a dipshit. And afterwards, Kirk and McCoy speculate over what Apollo actually is. Up on the ship, they're still trying to get free, but that's not going too good, while Apollo rattles off his relationship history to Carolyn, who is very polite about the whole thing, which is more than I could be in this situation, because he's spouting out some grade A horseshit, and I'm bored, but they do end up making out. The boys chat shit, out of the way fruit bowl, and Jesus, Chekhov's hairstyle just begs for death, doesn't it? And they conclude that Apollo is using an energy source from somewhere. Speaker the Devil shows up, without Carolyn, which pisses off Scotty, who hilariously tries to attack him. And then Kirk gets on his bad side, which ends badly for him too. Apollo then goes sleepy nap time and disappears, leaving Scotty with an injured arm, and Kirk with an inability to sit down like a normal person. They discuss Apollo expending so much energy, and Kirk comes up with a genius idea of sacrificing one of them to tire him out, and with no rando red shirt available, let's hope it's Kirk himself. Up on the ship, Uhura is fixing stuff like a total queen, and even has Spock as a cheerleader, who then goes on to order an attempt to punch some holes in the hand, before this guy grabs this space clipboard rather weirdly. The boys try to ignore Apollo, but Kirk can't help but mouth off. However, it's all part of the plan as they laugh at him, but Carolyn screws things up by getting in the way, so Apollo calms his shit down, but orders the rest of the crew to come and play. Kirk says he has another plan, while Apollo and Carolyn make out some more, and then she comes along all loved up and giggly, so Kirk tells her straight, and then gives a pretty good speech about duty and what being human means. But then she sods off. Uhura fixes the space phone and contacts Kirk, where Spock says the source of Apollo's power comes from his temple, so Kirk wants to blast it, but Scotty wants to make sure Carolyn is safe first. Dude, I think she's fine. She asks Apollo a bunch of big brain questions before telling him she's only studying him, she doesn't love him, which angers his armpits. So Kirk orders the temple blasted, which properly pisses him off, and leaves Carolyn looking very worse for wear. With the temple in ruins, Apollo gets all upset and blames Carolyn for his problems before getting big again and asking the other gods to end his suffering. Kirk feels bad about the whole thing, but no matter, because we're done. What the hell was that? That was such a weird concept/episode that I don't really know what to say. Apollo was such a bratty mood throughout that I found it impossible to give a shit when his temple got destroyed and he got all sad. Oh, boo-hoo! Maybe don't kidnap and threaten people and order them to worship you, you pompous asshat. It was weird AF how quickly Carolyn fell in love with him and then turned on him. In fact, her character was a pretty odd addition to the story, seeing as she's only featured in this one episode, and in a pretty big way too. I think my major problem with this episode, aside from the excessive technobabble about space gods, is not a whole lot actually happens. It's just Apollo ordering them to worship him and Kirk saying no for 45 minutes, intercut with Scotty getting smacked around a bit. I would have been super bored with it if I hadn't found it so annoying. The best bits of this episode were Uhura taking charge of fixing problems and Kirk's speech to Carolyn about humanity. It was a really solid, sincere piece of acting and saved the episode from falling into the realm of completely forgettable. So there you have it. That was Who Mourns for Adonais. If there's an episode of Star Trek you'd like me to cover, pop it down in the comments below or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot, or consider subscribing if you want to be assimilated into my channel. Alternatively, feel free to check out my other YouTube channel, Jane Plays Games Badly. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and live long and prosper.